What's good, y'all? This your boy Blak G 92. Now, for this evening, recorded my second reaction video, and I got a whole lot of energy, so I might as well just knock this one out. I'm definitely gonna split it into two parts. This is another experiment to see how y'all feel about it, and the video I'm reacting to is another one from Wrestle with Andy titled "Oldest Champions Wrestling Senior Title Holders." Shout out to Jacoby for his reaction request, and I forgot it was another person that gave me this video to react to. So I'm gonna see what this documentary look like in the first maybe 10-11 minutes in about 3, 2, 1. Let's go.
We looked at some of the youngest champions in wrestling history, but what about the flip side to that? What about the people who managed to win some gold while approaching senior citizenship? Yes, being of an advanced age doesn't necessarily make it any less likely for someone to find success inside the squared circle. In fact, it might make it even more likely.
Yeah.
But what are the best examples of this? Well, that's exactly what we're going to be looking at today.
Let's get it.
To start, then, with the time Terry Funk became ECW World Champion
52 years old.
Age of 52.
Shit.
Yes. Despite already having had a Hall of Fame-worthy career twice over by that point, in the mid-90s, Terry Funk decided he still had some gas left in the tank, and that he wanted to use the remaining time he had left to help get the next generation over.
Okay.
So that was why, throughout this period, he became a regular fixture of the Extreme Championship Wrestling roster, with him using his star power here to help get the fledgling Renegade promotion off the ground.
I have to watch some old footage.
So giving was the Funkster, in fact, he'd make pretty much everyone he went up against look like $1 million. It didn't matter if it was Shane Douglas, Sabu, or Tommy Dreamer. Whenever anyone stepped into the ring with the Amarillo native, they shone brighter than they ever had before. And that was why, as a thank you for all he'd done for the company, on April 13th, 1997 at Barely Legal, ECW's first pay-per-view, Paul Heyman booked the legend to win the promotion's world title from then-champion Raven.
Okay.
Sure, Funk was an old man at this point, so by the strictest of logic, he should have been easy prey for Raven. But then this is wrestling we're talking about, and the unwritten rule is that people only level up more the older they get. And it wasn't as if the fans didn't want to see Terry win the big one anyway. No, he was absolutely beloved by the live crowd in attendance that night, so when he finally scored the winning pinfall, they erupted in an ovation.
I bet they did.
Not every older champion over the years has received such a positive response from fans. In fact, some have received an outright hostile one by comparison. That said, if you're a heel, then this is the goal at the end of the day. And there's arguably no bigger heel in the world of wrestling than Vince McMahon, particularly during the time he also became ECW World Champion at 61 years old.
God damn!
Now, we will add the caveat here that this wasn't ECW proper. No, this was the bastardized WWECW version, which came about after the success of 2005's One Night Stand pay-per-view. So when we say Vince McMahon was the ECW World Champion at one point in 2007, we can at least say it wasn't really the same belt held by the likes of Taz and Tommy Dreamer. That said, it still counts as a title run, and because of Vince's advanced age when he won the belt, it earns him a spot in this video.
Okay.
Well, as far as we can tell, this win might actually make him the oldest world champion on record, at least in North America, that is.
Yeah.
And the fact
Very
that
old.
it was the prize once held up as being the shining beacon of
I wonder how he managed to get through that match without breaking a bone. Because at 60, those bones get kind of brittle now. I can't really do the same stuff he was doing, say, like 19, 20 years old. But shit. Hey, he must got bones made of titanium.
Culture makes it hurt all the more. But then we suppose that's how the boss wanted us to feel about the whole situation after he pinned Bobby Lashley for it during a 3-on-1 handicap bout pitting him, his son Shane, and Umaga against the Almighty at that April's Backlash show. Of course, this wouldn't be the only time Vince McMahon won a world title, though, as almost a decade prior he'd done the same thing in his own company, too. Yes, in a truly Vince Russo-esque move, it was back in the autumn of 1999 that the boss pinned Triple H to become the WWF World Champion. But how?
Did you know some dish soaps don't remove all the grease, even with scrubbing?
I'm learning a lot.
Try Dawn
Some interesting information right here.
Of grease and food
I would never guess wrestlers go past the age of in their 50s and 60s. That's something you don't really hear every day. Because typically, like in sports, like people retire in their 40s or like at least in their late 30s. But 50s to 60s, that's
How did such a
bold.
bizarre moment come about? Well, at that point, Vince was in the middle of a heated feud with the game, one which would soon get even more personal when Stephanie McMahon got involved too. Before that happened, though, it was all about the owner of the company trying his best to embarrass his rival by getting the strap he held so dearly off of him. And that's what led to a one-on-one match between the two on the September 16th episode of SmackDown that year. A match which, by all rights, Triple H should have won with ease.
Oh, yeah.
That said, what he wasn't counting on was the fact that Stone Cold Steve Austin had made an uneasy alliance with McMahon at this point, and so as a result, the Rattlesnake was only too happy to get involved and help screw the game out of the victory. That's right, Vince McMahon, of all people, was now the WWF champion right at the height of the Attitude Era. Sure, he would vacate it the following week, so it wasn't as if he held it for a long time, but it goes down in the record books as a win regardless. Still though, for as old as the Boss was here, he wasn't the oldest champion of the turn of the millennium era. No, that's a distinction which goes to only one person, the fabulous Moolah.
God damn, 76?
76, Moolah would become the WWF Women's Champion.
76? I thought 60s was kind of up there to be still wrestling, but 76? Woo!
Her place in history was already secured by then anyway, as someone who'd technically been women's champion for decades. In fact, in official WWE canon,
she old school.
As having held the original women's title all the way from September 18th, 1956 to July 23rd, 1984. A 10,170-day run, which dwarfs anything Bruno Sammartino ever did. That said, for as big of an achievement as this was, arguably the even more impressive achievement was returning to the ring with Mae Young in 1999, right as the Attitude Era was at its peak, and from there, immediately getting involved in a program with then Women's Champion Ivory. And that wasn't all Moolah was doing here. No, she'd actually go so far as to win the belt once more during a one-on-one match against the champ at October 17th's No Mercy pay-per-view.
Wow.
With this victory making her the oldest women's champion.
And she actually won. That's the impressive part about it. At that age, too. That's impressive as well. That's very impressive.
Sure, she would drop the belt again just 8 days later. But like with Vince McMahon, it's not the length of the reign which is important. It's that it happened at all. And that same logic could be applied to our next subject as well as it happens, because despite winning world titles everywhere he went in the 70s, 80s, and 90s, the last of Ric Flair's reigns with the big gold belt lasted for less than a day and happened when he was 51 years old. That's right, we're headed into WCW 2000, so strap yourself in because it's about to get stupid. After all, this was the year where the once mighty company's top prize changed hands a total of 25 times, and 6 of those reigns were vacant. So perhaps it's fitting then that the Nature Boy's last go-around with the belt that he helped make famous would be so anticlimactic. And the reason it could be described this way is because it came about as a result of some of the most nonsensical booking ever.
Really?
Basically, after beating Jeff Jarrett and Scott Steiner in a triple threat match on the May 23rd episode of Thunder to win the belt for the 3rd time himself, Kevin Nash decided he didn't really deserve it. No, as far as he was concerned, the person who really deserved it was Ric Flair. And so that was why he chose to simply give him the title on the following episode of Nitro. Yes, you heard that right.
That's
the final world title run in the legendary career of Slick Rick actually happened because he was simply handed the gold.
Oh, that's his booty.
He'd lose it later
that
on
should have been the match.
When he was defeated in a one-on-one bout against Jeff Jarrett. Still, even if it was dumb, it doesn't take away.
Very dumb indeed.
Nature Boy was still technically winning titles into his 50s. And that
that's still dumb, nonetheless.
Because 6 years later, when he was 57, he'd become a WWE World Tag Team Champion.
Okay.
Roddy
Well, at least that's something, because being handed a trophy was not it. Well, more so a belt.
Native, as Piper had long been a hero of his ever since his early days in the industry. So to get a chance to not only team with him, but become a champion with him, must have felt like a dream come true.
I bet.
How did it happen, though? Well, at Cyber Sunday on November 5th, 2006, Flair was booked to challenge then World Tag Team Champions the Spirit Squad with his partner to be chosen by a fan vote. And when the fans voted for Hot Rod himself to be the Nature Boy's teammate, they wasted little time in making short work of their male cheerleader opponents, with the geriatric stars getting both the win and the titles after just 6 minutes and 55 seconds.
Damn,
that's right. It was a special moment for fans who'd grown up watching the two, and it was equally as special a moment for the performers themselves as well. The only thing which could have made it even more special, in fact, was if the yin to Flair's yang in WCW, Sting, was involved. But at that point, he was far too busy working for TNA, the very place he'd later become world champion at 51 years old.
I wonder what happened. I always wonder what happened to him.
The only time Steve Borden became TNA world champion, however, no, quite the opposite, because during his run there, he'd win the gold a total of 5 times. That said, for the purposes of this video, it's the final reign we want to focus on. The one which came about when, after losing the belt to Mr. Anderson at June 12, 2011 Slammiversary pay-per-view, he'd transform himself into Joker Sting.
Okay, I could definitely tell.
Sting? Well, he was basically an updated version of the character, designed to play off of Heath Ledger's portrayal of the Clown Prince of Crime.
I knew something kind of was familiar with this old giddy up when I see these clips. Like, hold up, he kind of borrowed borrowed Heath Ledger's depiction of the Joker's stick and those drip, whatever. I mean, it looks nice, but it's quite obvious he took some inspiration from The Dark Knight.
And with this new look and attitude then, the Stinger managed to not only quickly earn himself a rematch against the new champ on the July 14th episode of Impact, but also a victory, as after all was said and done, he'd be holding the belt above his head once more. And what made it all the more impressive he was doing this was by then, he'd firmly entered his 6th decade of life. A period where no one should be athletic enough to stand on top of the world of their chosen sport.
Right.
But then Sting has never been a normal man, and neither has another of his former WCW peers as it happens, because when it comes to Goldberg, he'd go one better by becoming WWE Universal Champion when he was 53. Now,
I hate these damned ads. Looks awesome, but I don't try to watch all that shit.
Now, it should be noted that this is a title run which was mired in controversy, as it came at the expense of arguably Bray Wyatt's finest creation, The Fiend. And because of that, it became a tipping point of sorts for many fans who, rightly or wrongly, could only see Bill as the villain in the aftermath of things. Basically, it was in early 2020 that, after almost being ruined again by Vince McMahon's booking, Wyatt had managed to revive himself once more by finally getting his Universal title reign on steady ground. With it being expected he'd be defending this against Roman Reigns at WrestleMania 36. And that's where Goldberg entered the fray, because at the final hurdle before Mania, February 27th Saudi Arabia show Super Showdown, he'd challenged The Fiend for the gold in the main event of the evening. And in a decision no one was happy about, he'd actually go on to win this one, making him the oldest Universal Champion on record. That's right, in what might end up being the former WCW Champion's last run with a top prize, he'd splutter out here, as it quickly became clear live audiences wanted to see Bray in that position instead. After all,
I can see that.
There really was no need for Bill to hold the title anymore at this point, especially as his planned bout against Roman Reigns at the Showcase of the Immortals would end up getting canceled anyway on account of the state of the world in 2020.
Yeah.
But even if it wasn't one most fans look back fondly on now, and even if it did serve as a line in the sand for many fans who wanted to see the end of the part-timers coming in and stealing all the glory from the younger stars, it's still an achievement nonetheless for Goldberg to have won a world title so far into life. Of course, we are sure if you ask our next subject, he'd say there was nothing special.
Alright, I'm going to go ahead and put a little pause right there. I'm going to watch the remainder 8 minutes of this video. It's very, very interesting, to say the least. Another interesting documentary by Wrestle with Andy. Very great at what he does and showcasing some familiar faces I'm aware of, and a couple of them not so much. But yeah, it's definitely something definitely a sight to see some of these veterans go out the way in their ways of how they went out, you know what I mean? And plus the most disappointing one was the one where it's like when Ric Flair was like 51 or something, just handed the freaking, what do they call it, the belt, this championship belt. It's like, man, come on now, there's gotta be a match to go with it. Good thing he redeemed himself years later, shit, like at 56 years old. Because, yeah, it ain't a way for a multi-time champion, man, it should be going out for real. But Durag Vince always remind me of Prison Mike from The Office. I have not seen The Office, but that image is funny, though. I think I suggested this. Terry Funk winning the ECW title is very happy and heartwarming. I bet it was. I'm going to have to watch the footage for myself. In January, Shane would be the same age that Vince was when he won the WWE title. This was on mine for some reason. I'm sure it's quite mind-blowing indeed. I'm sure it's quite, yeah, see, a lot of people like the video as such, as I did as well. So let me know in the comment section, want me to react to more of these Wrestle with Andy documentaries as such, or any sort of footage from any late matches from like in the past or in the present, because it's still ongoing strong as such. So let me know in the comment section about that, as well as anything else you want me to react to. And also be sure to hit that like button, hit that notification button, hit that subscribe button. And also hit that donation link if you're able to, and follow my social media accounts. Post in the description box below. This your boy Blak G92 about to sign off. Holla at your boy. Peace. Oh, by the way, it's gonna be up. This video is gonna be uploaded an hour after I upload the Future Metro Boomin Like That reaction I done like only a few minutes ago, recorded more so. So stay tuned for that.